You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We're going to start this thing off right.
Raider! Everything runs through Lubbock.
Thanks for joining us on Locked On Texas Tech for this bonus episode as we're getting you ready for Red Raider Hoops coming up from United Supermarkets Arena. It's Tech and Louisiana Tech, the Bulldogs coming to town, and some familiarity in this matchup, Chris, starting with their head coach, Talvin Hester.
Yeah, this is a unique situation. It's not like the Chris Beard, Mark Adams situation per se. This was a much happier, friendlier version and all that. But yeah, Talvin spent a year on Mark's staff last year. Great guy. Everybody really big fans of his, just class guy. But, because of your run to the Sweet 16, people want to, start to tap into that. Barrett Peary goes to UNLV and as the associate head coach, and then Talvin Hester gets the head job at Louisiana Tech. He had been at Louisiana Tech prior, and so he actually had recruited some of these guys and all those things. But they go 24 and I believe 12 last year, 24 and 10 maybe, excuse me. And they went 12 and 6. That's where the number 12 is coming in. They went 12 and 6 in their conference. So this is and their head coach got up. He upgraded and moved on. And so Talvin ends up with a pretty nice situation. They have 10 returning players off of a 24-win team. This is a real mid-major team. And guess what? Just a hunch, but he might know everything that you're going to try to do with your schemes on offense and defense. So he won't know a lot about the roster because most of the roster is new. But with what you're trying to do and terminology and all that, yeah, he'll have a pretty good feel for how Mark Adams will coach his guys tonight.
Yeah, I think I heard Coach Adams talking about how there will be a lot of mirroring between the two defenses as far as what they're going to do on the defensive end of the floor for the Bulldogs.
I think that Talvin Hester wants to I think one thing that'll be different, I know I'll get to the defense in a second. Like, I think Mark will try to play his depth and really get into, he subs it like a hockey team. We see this all the time. It's a constant rotation, line changes, 5 in, 5 out, or there's just always 2 or 3 at the scores table. It's just like this constant rotation. I think Talvin will play 7-ish guys and play them the bulk of the minutes, so he's not going to do the sub stuff. But as far as the defensive premise and scheme and all that, yeah, he's going to run that side defense, stay out of the middle. They're going to try to down ball screens and force you to the baseline. Because Talvin took one of the graduate assistants that was here last year, Darshawn McClellan. He is one of Talvin's assistants. So he's got a couple of pieces there, not just himself, but another piece there that was here on staff and knows exactly what you're trying to do. But yeah, the defensive schemes should look identical. What's fascinating to me is I can't wait to see what each coach draws up to try to go against their own kind of defense. Does that make sense? Like on offense, like what you try to draw up. But no, this will be a tricky one here. Just because this is the last one that you get before you go to Maui. I mean, they're going to leave for Maui on Friday, when I'll be headed to Ames. So that's a lot of fun. But no, this is the last tune-up, man. And so you're going to go 1 week in between games. So you'll play Louisiana Tech tonight, and then you're going to play Creighton 1 week from today, I guess technically, in Maui. And so you better be sharp against the Bulldogs and not be looking ahead and all that, because they'll pop you if you don't if you're not paying attention. They shot 33s in their first game. They made 9 of them, but they got some dudes. They got a couple of guys that could play for teams in the Big 12, Casey.
Wow. I did look up, by the way, just to give you some solace. Only going to be a high of 77 in Maui, it looks like, next week. Pretty chilly for them. Chris. I know you've taken in a few practices since Thursday night's affair as Tech got a win over Texas Southern. What are you seeing or hearing emphasized now with 2 games in the books?
Well, I think Mark's challenge, and this is especially in these days of the portal era, and the newness of entire teams being put together. Because here's what I've said is, like, Talvin brings in 10 returners from a team that won 24 games, whereas you bring in, what, 3? I mean, you've got 3 returners, and everybody else is new. So I think what you're going to hear from Mark and his staff, and then that's the task with all these guys this time of year. You better take these teams seriously, and you better not blow it, because you don't want to make the news for the wrong reasons in these games, because Talvin knows how many games you've won in a row at home and in the non-conference. He knows you didn't lose a game at home last year because he was on the bench for every one of those. And, like Oklahoma State found out last week, if you don't take care of business, or you show up thinking you're going to get it done. I mean, and TCU almost found it out. I mean, on and on it goes. And so you can't get those opportunities back. And they're killers when you talk about resumes looking at the tournament and selection committee. So trying to get their mind right and trying to get them to take this very seriously is, I think, the main thing being emphasized. But, because Mark Adams, Corey Williams, those guys, they all are still friends with Talvin. They know Talvin's going to have his guys ready. So that's really, I think, the main thing that you think about is like trying to get across to your guys, hey, man, you darn sure better take this seriously and play hard, because if you don't, guess what? We're going to be on all the college basketball Twitter accounts and Facebook and ESPNs and all that stuff for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
And people are going to be showing our game elsewhere, and coaches are going to be saying, "Don't be like Tech guys. You don't want to have shown up and blown it."
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think the transfer portal works both ways in that major programs can find great players all over the country that are coming from smaller programs. By the same token, smaller programs are finding guys that are seeking more playing time from major programs, and there are good basketball players all over the place. No doubt about it. I'm curious. We talked after, I think this was on Friday's show, after the Thursday night win for Tech, possible lineup change, starting lineup change, Isaacs or otherwise. You hearing anything that leads you to believe maybe we see some of that change, or you expect basically the same starting 5 and similar rotation?
No, I mean, if there is a tweak made, it's Kerwin Walton into the starting lineup and pop Isaacs out, and I don't know if we're there yet. But if that would be the kind of the thought, then that's one possibility. There's really no other option. I think Kerwin Walton's got a lot of respect in that locker room, and I think he's going to be one of the first guys off the bench if he doesn't eventually end up starting. At some level, you maybe you don't want to hurt Pop's confidence early, but you just can't turn the ball over like that. I mean, 9 out of your 32 turnovers in your first 2 games, and he just needs to let the game come to him a little bit. He's a phenomenal talent, really good player. But if we see a change, that would be it.
No middle defense faced with a Bacho baseline jumper. It's all Texas Tech. Did you notice that one falling the other night? A little baseline action from Bacho. Yes. It made me think, Chris, of the progress of Zach Smith's game on campus as a Red Raider, because eventually he got very consistent with that little baseline mid-range shot. And it was a killer in some of those defensive matchups. And I don't know if Bacho was working on it or it was just a one-off. He pulled the trigger and it went down. But I saw that and I thought, oh, that could be nice. That could be nice if you added that aspect. Where else do you feel like maybe that defense that Louisiana Tech is going to present, where does it leave some things open or for some opportunities? Are we talking more perimeter guys, or who do you think may have a chance to have a bigger night?
Yeah, I think there's what beats it, or what I've seen beat it, is the teams that have really done well against Texas Tech is if the ball doesn't stick, and if you zip it around pretty good and share it, and you make you keep that defense moving, and so gotcha. With that, if you try to dribble the air out, they've got you. That's where they love that, because you're just making it easier on them. But and that's what worries me about a team like Creighton. Very disciplined. They're going to pass it very well, and it gets you moving, and you can keep up with it for a bit. But if they get you slightly out of rotation, they're good enough to punish you. And so that's my, we'll see what Louisiana Tech does on offense and all that. But from your standpoint, I mean, pick your poison. I think a guy like Davion Harmon can penetrate it, and I think he's good enough, and in some cases, to even they don't want you to get middle, to kind of break it down a little bit, and then start to kick it out, and then away you go, and you can start to play off of that, because all it takes is one guy getting past somebody, getting into the lane, and if you make the right play, and then you start sharing it around, or if you throw up a lob or whatever it may be, then it's broken down. But it's all, I just don't know. I mean, Keaston Willis is going to be their best player for Louisiana Tech. He's the guy that I think is good enough. He would be in rotations for a variety of Big 12 teams. I'm not saying he'd be a starter or their best player, but he's set about 70% of his shots are from three. He's just a high-level guard, and those guys make you nervous. And the three-point shot, what really scares you when you're going against a mid-major, that's the great equalizer. And again, they attempted 30 of them in their opener and hit 9 of them. But I mean, if they come in and hit like 14 of them or 13 of them or something, you go, look out.
Yep.
I mean, you just that's the great equalizer. So you just want to make sure that you guard the arc.
Looking forward to getting back to the USA as the challenge continues to, I think, ramp up a little bit here in Game 3 for Texas Tech as they get set for Maui. Hopefully, no looking ahead. Chris is back on a call tonight. You TV or radio on the broadcast?
I'm doing TV this evening with Mr. John Harris. So it's just like a yo-yo.
And I know on Thursday you did the Joey McGuire radio show, and then you went over to the USA and joined the call. You enjoyed that so much. Are you just looking for a coach to talk to somewhere else in town prior to the game, just to relive that experience, Chris, or going straight to basketball this time?
Going straight basketball, one thing at a time. I'm not good at compartmentalizing. I need to focus on one task at a time. Like, I'm focused on going to Ames this weekend.
However, that recipe led to a win on Saturday night.
It did. That's fair.
We all got to do our part, Chris. So we'll see what needs to be done coming this time around. Man, looking forward to the matchup here tonight. Should be fun with Hester on the other bench. Some familiarity between the head coaches. As I mentioned, a little bit of a ramped-up challenge from the first 2 ball games. Tech looking for their 3rd win in as many tries. We'll be back here to break it down and recap the good, the bad, and any possibly ugly on Locked On Texas Tech coming up tomorrow. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Enjoy the ball game, Chris. Enjoyed the time with you here today. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Keep hope alive, everybody.
You got it. And be right back here tomorrow for another episode. New ones each weekday on Locked On Texas Tech.